Welcome to episode 131 of The Nero Show. In today's episode,
with the release of the new SRAM Force, we discuss what Shimano could do to catch up.
Jesse has taken matters into his own hands and gone to the wind tunnel, testing wheels and tyres for us. We break down the results.
Of course, we've got the dog or fast bike, and then what's the most annoying cycling-related item you have to pay for? And just quickly, before we get started this week, the Nero suit, official name, Endurance Edition, it's here. Look at that. We chatted about this on the show probably 3 months ago, and we've done it. We've gone and made it. So it's the original Nero suit with the cargo leg pockets, now with a little flask pouch sewed into the inside down the back. So you can run your sugar flask, you can stick a few gels down there, you can even just squeeze in a 600ml bidon in there. You know, if you're doing that awkward length, you're doing like a 3-hour road race and you're going, 2 bottles is a stretch. Take a third, stick it down the back. So colorway as well, for those that are just listening, it's plain black on the bottom, plain white on the top, and a few small logos. So as well, if you've been looking at maybe getting the Nero suit, but you didn't want to run the sort of the loud print, this is your chance in the plain branding, in stock now on the website.
And that pocket, I should note, is small. So it's I know you mentioned you can get a bottle in there. That's probably right on the limit of what you want to be getting in there. It's designed for a flask.
Yeah.
That is what it's there for, a 500ml, 250ml sugar flask packed in back there.
Exactly right. So if you do buy one, thanks in advance. It does support the show. But you're not just buying the suit to support the show. You will not find a better quality race-ready suit that has the long sleeves, that has the long legs, pre-dyed lycra on the bottom so it doesn't turn grey when it stretches. It is a top-of-the-range premium quality suit. We're just doing it at a competitive price too. So it does help the show, but I don't want it to be some, ordering it as some charity thing. I promise you will be happy with the chamois, with everything, with the suit. It is very good quality. I stand by it.
Is it the Seeker Spear of suits? Yeah. Yes. No, that's well said. Should we get into it?
Let's go. What do we got?
Just quickly. So, yeah, the link for that will be down below the shop if you want to get on board and get involved. News roundup, Jesse. I think we start it there, shall we?
What's happening? It's like the Tour de France is coming up and it's just releases getting crammed in. You've got more rules. We're going to have to do another half an hour on the UCI again. But let's. I guess we just go top to bottom. This is let's start in your wheelhouse.
Oh,
Cervelo.
Oh, no, let's not start there.
No?
No, I want to start with Force.
Okay, I want to get you to fill me in on this Cervelo Aspero nonsense because I haven't really been following, but SRAM Force?
SRAM Force, which was probably the most telegraphed update of the last 12 months, the second that they launched Red 12 months ago-ish. This was clearly the clock was kind of counting down to this. I won't go too many into the specs, but briefly, Jesse, this is bringing you that one-fingered braking that you loved from Red, and it's bringing you that at a Force price point.
For me, that was easily the standout feature of the new SRAM Red when I rode it. That braking is best in class. For them to get that on Force, that's compelling.
So one-fingered braking, bonus buttons, the improved front derailleur, that X-Sync rear derailleur jockey thingy that we chatted about before that, you know, you pulled the dampener thing. It's got that on there. So they're the kind of headline features just to cut across everything. And if you're talking Australian dollars, you're 2,700. It's on cash at the moment for 2,700 for the full group set versus 4,600 for the Red group set.
Like $2,000.
So this is a very, very, very compelling argument. It does, a little part of me does, I'm a bit cynical about the whole 12-month wait to get this because it's like you get all these new features at Red and try and soak up all the people you can before drip feeding them the trickle down.
It's a fantastic marketing idea.
It's brilliant.
Like that. Why release them all at once and everyone can go and scramble to get Ultegra?
Yeah.
No.
Just give them the top ladder. Yeah,
it's a good play.
Now I haven't ridden it in anger, Jesse, but I did visit a bike show here in Sydney last weekend where this was on show. I'm going to be showing some B-roll currently as we talk, Jesse.
Okay.
Shot by a 9-year-old future vlogger, my daughter, Kira. And so I jumped on board. I will say the group set's, shifts fine, blah, blah, blah. It's on a stationary train, all the rest of it. The hoods themselves, the actual levers, they're slightly more tactile than the red ones. And the actual bonus buttons, I don't know if you remember this from the red one, but the bonus button can be quite tricky to find. Yep. It's quite small. It's a more protruding button on the Force lever. I actually prefer it to that just purely because it is a more accessible lever. I should mention they've also launched the Force group set for the Explorer 13 speed. It's the same lever, obviously, across the two of them. That Force gravel group set, that's it. It's done. Like, that is the most compelling argument for a gravel group set out there. And having a more tactile bonus button, I think, is a really nice addition. Potentially even a step up on what's on the red version. Just quickly, so it's 180. Well, they're claiming 183 grams lighter than the previous generation. Yeah, I mean, standalone, this sounds pretty good. For me, the devil's going to be in how brands spec this on bikes. Like, when we start seeing new bikes pumped out now with this new SRAM Force build, that to me is going to be the most interesting comparison when you start price pointing that against what an Ultegra build will be versus this, because we don't have to go into it again, but we're talking about a power meter that works, shifting that's pretty comparable.
The power meter situation is pretty interesting because they've had a few options in the past, and now, actually, even with this update, it hasn't really gotten much clearer. So, based on Shane Miller's video, you can get the SRAM Force with 2x that has the spider-based power meter, similar to the SRAM Red, that is removable from the chain rings. So if you want to replace the chain rings, you can do that. Then, if you get the Force 1x, that is actually integrated with the chain rings, that power meter. So that's kind of two different options. But in SRAM Force, they then also have a spindle-based power meter. It's kind of inside the spindle. So basically, for SRAM Force, there's 3 different power meter options depending on what you want and how you're building it. They are all pretty accurate, so I'm not quite sure why they wouldn't just pick one. Because you can get the Force E1 2x with spider-based Force, or you can get Force E1 Explore Axis with spindle-based. I don't quite understand why they wouldn't just say, no, spindle's better, we'll go for that. But I don't know, the options there. I still find that a little confusing.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah. Given they all work, I don't really mind. But yes, the choice is there. Not to derail this too much, but I mean, obviously we're going to see a Shimano update, whether it's next month or later this year, going 13-speed, wireless.
But at that stage, they'd be just catching up to SRAM.
And whether, to me, the whole thing comes down to whether the power meter is going to work. Or potentially they just completely give up on it. But I don't see how they can give up on it, given they will be pushing this out to their pro teams and therefore have to be doing it with a power meter.
Okay. Well, let's look at it. Best case scenario. They go to... I guess if they go 13
Best
speed...
Best case scenario, they go 13 speed, right. 13 speed with a 10-tooth, fully wireless, so no more battery, and let's say it's shifting's faster.
That's 13 speed, isn't it? The
Correct.
Explore.
Correct. But it's only 1x.
Only 1x.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's a gravel group set.
Right. But technically, could you rig a... what would stop you putting a 2x chain set on that and a front derailleur?
Comment down below with the answer to that question, because Chris doesn't know the answer.
Why? Yeah, if they've got the 13-speed capability in the rear derailleur, why can't they run a front derailleur with it?
I don't know. The levers are capable of doing it because they're essentially the road levers.
Because where my brain was going was, at best, even with all the changes Shimano could make, they would just be catching up to where SRAM are at. Arguably not quite there, because I think the new SRAM braking's better.
It'd be pretty heavy though, because that SRAM rear derailleur on Explore is a chunk of metal.
Right. Okay.
So like that Mads Pedersen build that we were seeing during the classic setup with that 13 speed, 1x, explore setup, that would be the same. There's be no weight saving advantage to that over a standard 2x setup, purely due to how chunky that rear setup is.
What's people's opinion on speeds then? If Shimano come out and it's 13 speed and it can be run 2x, is that moving the needle back in Shimano's favour? Is that then making the SRAM 2x look a bit dated? Because to get 13 speed, you need to go 1x?
Which is why I think it just comes down to the power meter. I just can't see how you can. Okay, there'll be a video showing how the Shimano 13 speed is 0.001% faster shifting under load. Cool. But if it's overeating by 13% on my left leg, like, I don't give a shit. So to me, that's it. Just unless that's sorted, it's not a fair comparison. And I'm pretty sure the pro teams agree with me, Jesse.
Yep.
Like, I'm pretty confident in saying the pro teams agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think? What makes it? What makes Shimano win the war on this new release for you?
I've come out. I pinned my flag to SRAM about 6 months ago and said it's the premier group set.
Whoa, back.
Yeah.
When did this happen?
Yeah.
This just snuck under the radar.
No,
I didn't see this on Escape Collective. Dear me.
No, I've been saying, if like for someone buying a new bike now, you would pick the SRAM Red option over the Durace. So how, even if they fix their power meter, that's when it started. So that's why I was asking about the 13 speed thing. So they fix their power meter, they go wireless, they go 13 speed. Then it gets interesting, but that's a lot of ifs. If any one of those things aren't there, then at best they're getting level again. I don't know. They're going to have to get creative. I don't see it.
So 13 speed, wireless, group set. So you mean Campagnolo, Super Record, 2025 edition, which is exactly what that is. Now, you and I both
but the pricing is ridiculous. The price,
true. That's true.
It's just immediately.
Yeah. Can I just quickly mention I did get to see that on the weekend?
Any good?
It's certainly a vast improvement on the buoy that was hanging off the back of the bikes and the rear derailleur in the previous iteration of it. So it is a bit of an improvement on that. That rear derailleur has lost a bit of weight, which it had some weight to lose. It looked fine. Obviously the riding of it, I'm not sure about. But okay, so the thumb shifter's back. But Jesse, it's in the wrong position. So I've got some footage of me, like, it's not where it used to be, where you'd rest your thumb and it was the machine gun and you could tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
Like, it's not up there. You've got to twist your wrist around to actually find it. And it's quite a discreet button. It's interesting. It's not... I really thought this was going to be like an EPS throwback, but it's not at all. It's a completely redesigned hood. And yeah, for me, that was a bit of a letdown, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know. And again, that's another group set that claims to have a power meter, but no one's ever actually seen it in real life. I think Shane Miller's still waiting to actually even get one to test. Mm-hmm. Whether they're willing to get him to test one's another story. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm still torn with this because yes, Campy is still a meme to me. I have people in my life whose opinion I respect when it comes to products, and they're telling me, no, Chris, you need to take this seriously. I just don't believe them. It's just still to me pretend land. Mm-hmm. Sorry. So you said comparing between Red and Dura-Ace that decision is made in your mind. Mm-hmm. Is that the same then for the group sets below then? Now?
Well, I obviously haven't ridden the new Force. Assuming it's, this, but a bit heavier, then yeah, I think I'd pick that over Ultegra. I think the problem with the SRAM Rival, I think it starts getting pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Then the weight starts to come into play. So I think probably at that level, 105 still wins. But
Well, 105
Yeah.
still wins, but also, like, again, we're talking June 2025, but like Ultegra deals are pretty good at the moment. So you can potentially even get pricing on Ultegra that's playing around that rival space, which clearly shows what's coming. But yeah.
Always found group set stuff kind of boring. I'm not a group set head. I can never get into it. For me, it's just the gears change and it doesn't do, it's just not, it's not a sexy part of the bike that gets me that excited.
There's no tour number.
No, it doesn't. I mean,
yeah.
some people love, they're obsessed
yeah.
with group sets. It's
Yeah.
this and it's one by and yeah, for me, I never could quite get there with it. So I'm kind of, you know.
It's functional.
yeah.
I know what you mean. I always find it interesting how opinionated people are about group sets. If Shimano go and blow it out of the water and go, yep, it's here's an even better 13 speed, blah, 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 power meter that works, I'll be cool. Yeah, 100%. Go for it. Yeah, anyway.
We did say, we called this like months ago. Anyway, I don't want to sit here and gloat. Okay.
I do. Sorry, Jesse just said he didn't want to sit here and gloat. I want to sit here and gloat. We called this months ago that they were going to do this. This is a look into reducing the speeds of professional racing by reducing the gearing available to them. And we have started to see some actual numbers come out of the kind of gearing that the UCI are looking at banning or restricting. Jesse, feed me some gear ratios.
Well, this is a trial in a few races from August. This isn't as bad as the 65 mil wheel thing where it's 2026 gone. This is a bit of a trial. But the gear restrictions are tiny. So it's done on a rollout. Basically, you put the bike in its biggest gear. Juniors will know this. They've done this for youngs. You put the bike in its biggest gear, you roll it forward with the cranks, and it's how far does the bike go in one revolution. And in layman's terms, your biggest gear with a 28 mil tire is now a 5411 if you're using Shimano. Or if you're on SRAM, a laughable 4910. Because they've got their, SRAM's got the 10 tooth, so obviously your chainring can't be as big, which is absolutely hilarious. What do you think? 5411 biggest gear.
Now ban them all, Jesse. Ban everything. Ban bikes. Ban two wheels. Like I want maximum tire pressures. Everyone on 20 psi. That'll slow people down.
Mm-hmm.
What do I actually think? I think that if they did potentially go ahead and do this, I think you could be looking at a situation where finally something stands up against the UCI. Maybe it's a collective of mainstream brands that go to the ASO and say, they are fucking up our sport. You can't develop a product. This just kills development across the industry when you don't know what restrictions, when you come up with ways of improving your product to make your bikes go faster, which is the point of a professional bike racing team, to go faster. You come up with ways to do that and the UCI just banned them. So there goes any product and development at any brand and any moon forward for the sport in general. So I don't know. I kind of sat on the fence a bit last week, but this one really pisses me off.
Good. Yes, this is what I want. Bring in more rules. Let's go. Come on. I want more bans. Let's go. More stuff. I want them to go I want the UCI to go absolutely stir crazy. Give us more so that every man and his dog is outraged. Because if they do enough of it, the bike brands who essentially have the money and the teams are just going to go get together and we're just going to go, stop, pump,
we're done.
Just wait. Just stop. We're done. We're protesting. We're going to the race organisers, going to the ASO, run the Tour de France. We're going, no, they're absolutely taking the piss. Change the rules back. You're absolutely joking. And they have the power in the situation. They have the money, but it has to be enough to push it over the edge. These little, or ban a 70 mil wheel, okay. Do enough of it. Eventually, they're just going to have to put their foot down because this is getting fucking stupid. 5411 is like a B grader's gear. How can you race? So I'm getting all squeaky. Oh God, this just is so stupid. it's just you can't even race anymore. You're doing Tour de France stage, sprint lead out. They're going 60 plus K an hour, doing 140 RPM. Now you can't actually race because the gears are so small. It is just stupid.
And sprinting at a cadence of 130, that's safe now, supposedly.
Yep.
So,
now it's going to be juniors, right, where Laura seated and no one's looking because they're all like a washing machine. It is stupid. This is the dumbest of the dumbest. It's now, because the 65 mil wheel thing, you can go, yeah, it kind of stifles innovation, but it doesn't impact the racing. This is like, it's now just nullifying a whole bunch of stages because riders can't pedal at the power they need to do.
Who are these people? Who are they? Sitting in this little cubicle in Switzerland, sitting around going, oh, let's do this band. Like, there's my friggin' Swiss accent for you. So I asked a few like industry type heads because I noticed one of the comments, or one of the parts of the press release last week was we've been consulting with interested parties, teams, and major brands and etc. And I asked a few of them, like, what does consulting from the UCI look like? Basically, it means they say, oh, we're looking at stuff. So the handlebar thing, they were told that they were looking at handlebar situation. That was it. There was no, can you give us some data from your end? Any research that you've worked with? There's been no to and fro. So it's purely just a little, and that's a little, yeah, we're looking at stuff. That's the level of consultancy you're getting from the governing body. I don't know. It's like men in black cloaks sneaking around doing this stuff. But I think you're right. Who has the power in this sport? If you really boil it down, is it the UCI? I don't think it is. The power in this sport, much to my complaint, is the ASO. They are the cash cow of our sport. And so if you could get them on side and to say, fuck these guys, let's do our own thing, then...
This comes back to a whole other conversation as well off the back of that, is they'll just go, well, we're just going to race outside of the UCI because this is just totally ridiculous. So, and then they'll just host a race that's not... Yeah. They'll just start a new league.
So ban it all.
Ban it all, and
UCI.
just go and just trip over yourself, fall on your sword, and you're just done with. It's just stupid.
I do want to pick up on something. We saw this comment a lot in our comments last week. People saying, why do you guys care? It's only for World Tour teams, World Tour races. Like, this doesn't matter, et cetera, et cetera. Why is Jesse getting so uppity about it? Well, the way this works is that the UCI set restrictions, rules, and then they are taken on by every domestic governing body. So in our case, Oz Cycling will take those restrictions, and that means every race that happens in Australia are under those regulations, all the way down to a local club crit on a Saturday morning will therefore be under these regulations. So Jesse's bike, as of January 1 next year, he cannot race it at Heffron Park.
No.
That is a fact.
There are so many things I have to change on my bike now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And so there are a lot of people like that. So that's why we care. I mean, you can probably do the Barrel Classic.
No,
anyway, I'm not going to go down
you can do
route,
that. No. If you watch pro cycling, this gearing one you should care about. How can you sprint on a 5411? It's an impossibility. This is just stupid. So if you watch any pro cycling, this affects you because it affects the racing. It affects the outcome for the athletes. So if you're into road cycling, you think this doesn't affect you, you're dreaming. Because if you've watched any pro race, this is now seriously impacting the results. So it's just a trial in August. There's just no, like, I mean, you say this and then they do it, but there's just no way this could be a rule. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
No, I mean, given again what we're thinking about Shimano as well, going 10 tooth, like, could you imagine the three? Don't Campy have like a 9 tooth? I think maybe I've just made that up.
No, there was a rumor that Shimano would be going 9 tooth for the gravel.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
but I mean, that would be laughable then. You know, if they went a 9-tooth.
You got to run like a 40-tooth chainring.
So, I don't know. Well, so hang on. We didn't talk about this, that this ban potentially bans tyres as well.
Yeah, because as your tyres go wider, the rollout gets bigger in the same gear. So depending on how they enforce it, if they're enforcing it strictly on the rollout, then yeah, if you're running a 32mm tyre, you might have to run like a 4710 because the gearing gets smaller.
Is there any part of your bike that's legal?
No,
it's literally the most illegal bike.
No, honestly, at this stage, now this sounds ridiculous, but they might just have to put a speed limit on.
Limiters.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some limiters on
As soon as you go above 60 kilometers an hour, the race is neutralized.
Air hubs.
Yeah.
Air hubs for the boys.
Yep.
Get Freeberg in there. That'd be a good contract.
Everyone puts an air hub on.
Everyone gets an air hub. Yeah.
Yep.
Just you hit 60.
Yeah.
Just wheels you back.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I like that. Or yeah, like when you can't add weight because that potentially speeds you up down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, well, you could do it like horse racing, where just Tade has an extra. Actually, I don't mind that. Think about it.
Oh no!
Put 15 kilos on Tade's back, and it just the idea is like a handicap. Anyway, there you go. But he's already got a handicap to V5 RS. Now, I don't know. I don't know what the actual. Like a little dig I just snuck in there. I don't know what it is. Now, Pillar Performance are back, Jesse. They're supporting today's episode. So I would like to have a quick chat about some of the products online we might and might not be using at the moment.
Yeah, what have they got? What are you loading at the moment? What's the stack? What's the Chris Miller Pillar stack?
What's the current protocol?
What's the cycle?
The current protocol is get up in the morning, hit a bit of vitamin C immunity straight away, smash, bang into the gob, and then of course straight to the gym after that. Just big gym rat these days, so straight into your creatine after that, just to get swole, and then to finish off the day, Jesse Coyle, because you know how much I love my sleep. I'm smashing some magnesium in the evening. Bit of berry flavour. None of that tablet rubbish either. Straight into the powders for me. Get me some extra hydration as the evening ends.
For those that do have some racing coming up, it is also good to know that Pillar is informed sport batch tested. So maybe you're going to the Gran Fondo World Champs down in Lorne. You're taking some triple magnesium to help with your training for that. Good to know that if you do happen to get drug tested down there, you're not going to get sprung for some ingredient that's crept in at a cheap factory that's producing some of the other products. So yeah, good peace of mind with that.
Now, Pillar Performance are doing some sales on their site at the moment, Jesse.
Yeah, so if you're in Australia or New Zealand, every order gets a free micro shaker, and the big deal is buy two, get one free. So you buy 2 tubs of triple magnesium, you get a third one for free if you're in Australia and New Zealand.
Sadly, I don't think you'll be able to use code Nero for that to knock an extra 15% off. But that's all right. For the next couple of weeks, you're allowed to do that. But if you are in the US, if you are doing that, go to thefeed.com/pillar and use code Nero at checkout at the feed there, and that will give you the 15% off. And again, a huge thanks to Pillar not only for supporting today's episode, but being a long-term supporter of the Nero Show. All right. The Nero Show is often criticised for its bro science, Jesse Coyle. Just 2 lads sitting around a table just making stuff up.
Guessing what?
Well, Jesse Coyle took matters into his own hands last week, and he surfed off to Adelaide, to a wind tunnel, and ladies and gentlemen, he has results. Now, how many runs did you get in?
Oh, we were cramming in runs.
Cramming the runs in?
Yeah, I think we got about 20 runs in.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah,
nice.
Good number, good score.
Good score.
Good batting average.
Good score, 20 for a day. So, yeah,
They're trying to recruit me there too. They're like, you can spot him. Coyle can spot it.
Wow.
They're trying to get me a roll in there.
CDA spotting.
Just plonk me down side on. I'll tell you what it is before it starts.
Fantastic.
You should have seen the contracts were flowing.
The contracts were flowing.
Well, it's the only sport-specific wind tunnel in the Southern Hemisphere.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They don't have one in Chile? No?
Nope.
There you go. But you went down there and you did some wheel testing.
Yeah. So I went down with Ben, who runs Caden Wheels, to test his wheels against some of the competition and then also to test some of the stuff that we've been chatting about on the show. So to test tyre widths, carbon versus steel spokes, hidden nipples, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
We got some numbers.
I'm keen. Where do you want to start? Because this is good stuff.
Yeah, so it was tested at 50 kilometers an hour it's funny, so with a bike with the wheels in it, no rider, but then taking parts off the bike to reduce the error. So there's no handlebars on the bike, there's no cranks, there's actually no cassette or rotor on the wheels. That's more just to make it quicker to do the changes in between the runs. But yeah, it's basically a frame with wheels in it and most of the components stripped off. And so at 50k an hour...
Can I ask a question? Yep. Do the wheels spin during the run?
Yep. Yeah. So the wheels are spinning and there was 0 plus or minus 7.5 degrees and plus or minus 15 degrees of yaw. And then the weighted average after those based on the formula they had of how frequently you would experience them out in the world and come up with your single number.
Okay.
So the amount of drag that bike with wheels is kind of adding is between 60 and 70 watts of kind of drag. That's the number range that we're working within. So what wheels did we take? Scope Artex 6s, Scope Artex 6.A, which is the slightly wider version. That's the super fast one that Cycling News tested as the fastest. The Reserve, Chris Miller's wheels, the 6 Reserve, kind of like it's a 5263 or something. And then the Caden 60s with a bunch of different build specs. And then the tyres, the 29mm Conti Aero tyre, 28, 30, 32.
Okay.
I would have loved to see like a 34, but we ran out of time to test. I guess you're going to want to know how the reserves go. Yeah. So
some numbers.
So in what I think is the optimal width setup for the average rider, 30 front, 32 rear. The Scope Artex 6 was 67.5 watts. The Scope Artex 6A, the slightly wider one, was faster, 65.4 watts, so 2 watts faster. The Reserves, 67.5 watts, so actually within the margin of error, but about the same speed as the Artex 6s, not about 2 watts slower than the 6.8s. And the Caden wheels were 65.1. So, and this is unbiased, that Ben's wheels are actually the fastest. Getting into a little details, and this is a problem with that mullet combo, your front wheel is only 52 or 53 mil deep. So it's pretty reasonable to say if the reserve front wheel was actually just 60, it'd probably be as fast as the Cadence. And the Scope wheels are actually 65 mil deep. So they're deeper, that's front and rear. So they're slightly deeper than the reserves and the Cadence. So essentially between the Scope Artex 6.8s, the Cadence, and the reserves, if they were 60 mil deep, there's almost no difference. They're basically the same. But the reserves don't come in a 60 mil front. So, they're a little bit slower. But the thing I'm kind of interested in is like what happens when you go to wider tires. So if we look at, let's take the Scope Artex 6s, which is a 23 internal, 31 external. If you have a 28 on the front and the 38 on the rear, it's 65.9 watts. You then go a bit wider. So you go to a 30 on the front, 32 on the rear. It is slower, 67.5 watts. So not much, 1.5 to 2 watts slower. If you then go to 32 on the front, 32 on the rear, it's 68 watts. So it's definitely slower. Is that a lot of loss at 50 kilometers an hour? Not much. 65.9, 67.5, 68. So between the narrowest and the widest there, you're losing. But that's the narrowest wheel set tested. What if you go to the Cadence 60s, which are 25 internal, 34.2 external? Now, what you would suggest is that a wider rim doesn't suffer as much when you go to a wider tire. Remember the Zip guy said that with their new 303 SWs that the aerodynamic performance is basically the same from a 28 to a 35. Well, let's see. Cadence with a 28 front, 30 rear was 65.2 watts. With a 30 front, 32 rear, it's actually faster by 0.1 of a watt, 65.1. You put a 32 on the front, it's 66.6. So still basically within a watt. So That is true. If you have a wider rim, internal and external, it handles a wider tire better. In fact, it may actually be faster with a slightly wider on the front. So I was running the 28 front because I thought, oh, well, if I'm doing a really fast race, it's probably going to be faster. If you have a wide rim like those Cadens, that's not necessarily true. The 30 might actually be the fastest on the front.
So the hypothesis is there, isn't it? It's if you optimize a rim for a wide tire, there are the aerodynamic advantages. Well, you nullify the supposed aerodynamic disadvantages of going wider to an extent.
Yes, but it's actually more than that because you in that situation with those wheels, the 28 front measures 31.4. If you put a 30 on, it measures 33.2. So it's almost 2 mil measured width wider, which is going to be a lot more comfortable. But it's not that it's not slower. It's basically almost faster for more comfort. It's quite unbelievable, really. Generally, you might think, oh, I don't want to go wider because I don't want to be slower. It actually might be faster if you've got a good wide rim. So I thought that was quite interesting.
That's
and
really
that
interesting.
kind of agrees with what Zip guys.
Nathan.
What Nathan from Zip said. Like kind of. Now I don't know if that's going to carry through to a 35. That's kind of getting stretched there, but so far it kind of lines up with what he's saying. Now I'm going to get into like hidden nipples, carbon spokes, and spoke material.
Yep.
But I just want to note one kind of annoyance with the test I had was we're testing all good wheels.
Yes.
Right. So the results are. Someone's probably going to go, Jesse, you're talking like 1 to 3 watts between any of these, and I absolutely 100% agree that the differences between everything we're saying here is small. I would have loved to have seen a DT Swiss with a sort of a 20 internal, 28 external in here. That would have been interesting.
Could have lent you one.
Or an old Dura-Ace wheel. I would have loved to have seen something not as good. These are all exceptional wheels. So we are splitting hairs between all this. But keep that in mind with the results. Hidden nipples. You would have thought would be faster, right? You hide the nipples. It's kind of...
I don't want to see a nipple.
Well known, yeah. No, it's going to be faster. Inconclusive. So with a 28mm tire on the front, it was 0.8 watts faster. But when you put a 30mm tire on the front, it was a watt slower, or within the margin of error of the test. So is hidden nipples actually faster based on this testing? Not sure.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Carbon spokes, steel spokes. Come on. This is the one I really want. This is the only reason I'm here today.
I'm going to hold off there. Lower spoke count. You know the reserves have like 24 spokes or something?
Oh, we've got 1 million spokes in there.
The scopes have 16. And you go, oh, is it faster because there's less spokes? Not faster, within a watt. So took the Caden rim, same hub, same everything, same rim. It was the same. It was, again, within a watt. So lower spokes, hidden nipples. Maybe if you put them together and retested, it would maybe do something, but there's not much difference here. Carbon spokes. Is a carbon spoke slower?
Come on, give me something. Give me a bombshell, Jesse. Hit me.
Same speed.
For God's sake.
So, that's actually...
No, that's, okay.
It's it wasn't slower.
Wasn't slower.
Going in, I thought, the carbon spokes is going to be measurably slower.
Now, just to clarify, these are the carbon spokes on the Cadence? Or
on the Cadence,
yeah. Okay.
These are the carbon spokes on the Cadence, which are the I think it's Vanoa. There's a whole spoke chat here. There's not many factories that produce carbon spokes well. One of them is a factory called Stren, which produces these spokes called Vanoa. That's the brand that the scopes use. You can see if you look right on the edge of this carbon spoke, it says Vanoa. That's because it's very difficult to make a good carbon spoke.
Okay.
Suspected, Ben from Cadence suspects that's the reason why a lot of the big brands are slow to go to carbon spokes, because they got to pay these factories to make them. They can't make them themselves. So obviously that Vanoa brand has different types, but this day and age, you can get them very thin. So as long as they're aligned well, so not because they're bladed, as long as they're not off twisted, they're actually, they're like a mil thick. They're tiny. So it was the same brand as the scope spoke, but I think it was just a slightly different model. But yeah, I mean, it's not any slower.
Are these Vanoa spokes on like your CRWs?
I don't know. I didn't check.
Okay.
I suspect they are. It's like the biggest carbon spoke manufacturer.
Okay. It's not some boutique carbon spoke.
No. If a brand uses carbon spokes, this probably comes from this factory.
Okay.
Yeah. So for Kane, it's kind of looking at going, well, what can I do to make this wheel faster, given that it's already basically as fast as the scopes? Not really anything. Hide the nipples, go to carbon spokes, lower the spoke count. Doesn't really make much of a difference. And so can I get to some of my takeaways? Oh, out of interest, you can put the graph up if people want to look through the results. The margin of error of the test was 0.3 of a watt.
Oh, I'll need some B-roll for this chat, Jesse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the margin of error is 0.3 of a watt. It's pretty accurate. So what can you do for a wheel brand to go? So this is the question. This is the thing with the reserves, right? If you're reserve and you want to make your wheel faster, what can you actually do? You can go deeper, is the most obvious thing. And maybe you could adjust the rim shape. But the problem is most of the rims are very similar shape anyway. That U shape, they get wider as you go further down the rim. You can play with the widths a bit, but they've already kind of done that. So there's really not a lot of gains for something like a reserve to make, unless they just go deeper.
Yes, I know what all of those in-house brands are going to say though.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to optimize for our bike.
Oh yes,
that's what they're going to say.
Yep.
And that's because that's the last point of call.
Which is not bullshit, it's because you can't, bullshit. As we've seen with this testing, you play around with the different things. There's not many gains there. So aside from just making the wheel deeper, doing something where it's the flow runs then over the down tube and you optimize that down tube shape around that. I mean, that's kind of all you got left.
That's a test I'd love to do.
That's a good point.
It's a test I'd love to do is take my S5 with reserves and then plonk some spokes in, some scopes in, plonk some Durace in, just see how much of that optimizing the package thing I can challenge. But yeah, I mean, that's what you'll say. Yeah.
Should you use carbon spokes? Based on this testing, for most people, you should probably get carbon spokes because it's about the same speed. It just makes your wheel set lighter. So for most people, the carbon spokes is a better option. Jury's out on the crosswind stability thing because the spokes are, if they're bladed, they're deeper. So, if you got a crosswind coming on, there's more surface area for the wheel to catch. So just flag the crosswind stability is, still undecided. But in terms of just speed, yeah, they're about as quick. One of the other things it kind of reiterated for me is why us banging on about the rim width is very important because it's on a rim, aside from like the shape of the rim, it's the only thing you can really change is the width to match your tires. That does make a difference. And so it's really nice to know that, we've been going, you need your 35, you need your 34 external, you need your wider internal so it measures wider. And that's justified because if you're choosing between brands, assuming it's not some weird lightweight with a V-shaped sort of rim, the width is really, and the depth is what you've got to play with. And then the weight that's then getting you to. So weight, rim width, and the depth. Whether it's got hidden nipples or carbon alloy spokes, it's all much of a muchness from an aerodynamic point of view.
Yeah, it's top of the tree, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we've been saying, but this just sort of reiterates that.
It's the first thing you notice when you get out and start riding them. It's, you can eventually start to feel carbon spokes. Yeah, you can eventually start to feel, well, no, you can't feel hidden nipples, but that internal rim width is just king when it comes to this. Yeah.
And then in terms of if I want to get a bit more, edgy, there's bugger all difference. Assuming the right rim width between a lot of these brands, like those scopes in Australia being $7,000, like they're just not worth it. A set of fast sports at the same depth, if they're a similar width, are gonna be the same speed, and you got to check the weight. If you kind of the scopes are light, but you can get pretty light 60mm deep fast sports, and it's where you take the fast sports in, they're going to test within not even a few watts. They're going to test within a couple of watts, even at 50k an hour. So, yeah, we've been fans of those scopes.
Well, they've tested the fastest.
They have tested, well, until the Cadens went in.
Mm.
They've tested the fastest based on the Cycling News test, which didn't test good Chinese carbon wheels. That's probably, I think that's what I'm getting to. Because based on my experience, having seen all this, the fast sports are probably a bit narrow, actually. I think they're only a 31. Insert 34 mil, insert CRWs. Nah, it's a 50 mil front, 60 rear. Anyway, sorry. Insert a 60 front, 60 rear Chinese carbon wheel. It's going to be as fast as the scopes. If it's the right width. And so that's where I'm kind of, are the scopes worth it? I'm kind of cooling on them a little bit. I'm not as, they're not, yeah. They're the top of a bunch that didn't include all the others that are probably going to be close. I mean, the Cadens did well. I mean, he's stoked. He's walking out of there going, we're the same speed as the scopes for a third of the price. So good on him for getting down there and paying for the testing. Do you want to know how much the testing costs?
I do, yes. Yeah? Talk me through it.
So for a day of testing without any expert opinion, just we'll run. You designed
got you there.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm in there for free. Yeah. So you go in there. They run the test. You basically come up with the test run of what you want to test. You have to interpret the results. 3,600 Australian dollars for a full day of testing, which allowed to do all this testing. Which that's enough for a wheel brand. 3,600 Aussie. What's that in USD? Not that much. Like what? 2.5, 2.4.
And once you do a few more, you get better at it, more efficient at it. Mm-hmm. You're able to test more. Yeah, interesting.
Now, the input for the head engineer at the wind tunnel to sort of chat with, he interprets the data, sends you a full report. It's $5,000. It's about extra $1,500 to get his input. Maybe you do that the first time, and then for subsequent runs, you just go in there and you do a DOI. Now, I think that's about half the price of Silverstone. So we were close with again, we were close. So if you double that, that's 10,000 Aussie, which wasn't that what I said Silverstone would cost?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the money you're looking at. So if you're in Australia, you're lucky. If you can get in there, I thought that was, unless I've lost my marbles, for a brand to go in there and validate their product for $5,000 in a world-class wind tunnel all day. It's got a lab technician running it. Last thing, and it's almost irrelevant, but that Conti Aero tire, which is labeled 29 mil, it actually measures ever so slightly narrower than the 28 mil GP5000, which is a bit of a bait and switch. That actually saves more watts than changing any of the wheel sets. So you put that front tire on, saves 3 to 4 watts. The difference between any of these wheel sets was kind of like 2 or 3 watts at best. So if you're doing a time trial and you don't care about rolling resistance or comfort, that Conti Aero tire is fast.
Yep. Do you know anyone who's ridden it?
Yeah, quite a few people.
Okay. Yep. Any feedback on it?
Not that I've asked.
It just looks harsh to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I went in there. I probably got video of it. It's on there. And I went up and looked at the rim, and I just wouldn't ride it. No. It's just I don't want to ride it.
Looks like a gator skin. Looks hard shelled. Yeah.
Out of interest, so a 28 mil GP5000 on the scopes, Artec 6s measures 30, and the Conti Aero tire measures 29.2. So yeah, it's narrow. It's narrower than a 28, and I wouldn't even run a 28.
No.
So it's that's why I kind of put at the end. It's almost irrelevant. I'm just not racing on that. It's too narrow. And then it gets into another conversation of, well, how much drag is saved because of the tread pattern, and how much drag is just saved because it's narrower. Good. Well, we've got to go back.
Got to go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely some things. Yeah. No, good precedent set, and congratulations to Ben.
Yeah.
Made a good wheel. All right. The other little bit of news that snuck out last week was a new bike launch. Now, we don't often cover, if ever. No, we never cover gravel bike launches.
Nope, they're relevant.
But this one I had to cover because it looks a lot like a bike that I have quite a bit of familiarity with, my S5. Seemingly, Cervelo launched a gravel version of the S5, but it's not called that. It's the updated Aspero-5. Now, little bit behind the scenes. Jesse's been having a lot of difficulty here with this naming protocol that Cervelo have got going. Because I have an Aspero.
Oh, this
and Jesse's
is
like,
basket case.
is this a new Aspero? It's like, no, it's a new Aspero 5. I'm like,
well,
what?
What's the Aspero 5? Okay, let me lay this out and see if I've got this correct. Before a week ago, there was an Aspero and an Aspero 5.
Correct.
They're different frames.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was confusing me because
Yes.
I thought usually when a brand does like the Tarmac 1 and the Tarmac 2, it's just a group set difference. It's a spec difference.
Yes.
The frame's the same. But no, the Aspero 5 is essentially a different frame model than the Aspero.
Correct.
Why they didn't just call this the Desperado, I have no idea, but they've gone with Aspero 5.
Yeah.
So they have now updated not the Aspero,
No, that bike.
that bike. They've updated the Aspero 5, which is their race aero faster version of the Aspero.
Which looked like that last
Originally.
week, but now it doesn't look anything like
No,
that.
now
Yes.
it looks like your S5.
Now it looks like your S5.
Okay.
Yes, so the naming protocol is a bit of a shit show, absolutely. And this launch is it's been funny watching it from a distance because it's I would say it's been received very lukewarm by the majority of cycling media, all based on one specification. That specification being a 45 mil tyre clearance maximum.
Mm-hmm.
And the rhetoric seems to be that in 2025, you can't launch a gravel bike with such a minute tyre clearance because
Absolutely.
everyone's going to be racing on fucking fat bikes and mountain bikes now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I asking you? Do you have a take on this?
The 49's a great width.
It's a great width.
It's
Can I
one of the greats.
just give you my thoughts on it, and you can tell me what you want from it. I've flip-flopped a bit on it as well. When I heard that they were doing a new gravel bike, I was excited. When I heard that it was going to have a 45 mil tyre clearance, I thought that sounded a little bit outdated. Then seeing the bike and seeing the potential of this bike being, wait for it, Jesse, the Quiver Killer.
Oh.
I was once again a little bit excited about it and started to think more realistically, and I'm going to just put my own personal cap on here about what I want a gravel bike to be and what sort of gravel racing I want to do. So this bike is clearly designed more for speed. It's claiming something like 35 watts faster than that bike there, or the Aspero 5, which was essentially that bike. So an aero advantage on a gravel bike. And part of that being the fact that it's going to be narrow at the front. So therefore, putting a big mountain bike tyre on the front will slow that down. That therefore is not part of the remit of what this bike wants to do. And so for someone like me, who is a road rider and is starting to now get a better idea of what gravel racing, I'm going to do gravel racing, but what that gravel racing will look like for me in 2025, 2026, I'm getting a better idea of what that is. And I know what it isn't. And it isn't events where mountain bike tyres are required. And I don't think I am that niche when I talk about this, because I think there's just a lot of people who are used to doing road fondos, road events, and if they start doing gravel races, they are not going to be wanting them to be gnarly mountain bike tyre events.
The winner of this is, as a non-gravel person, to me it's pretty clear. The guy that won Unbound this year, Cameron Jones, ran a 50 mil tyre. A new race gravel bike needs to take a 50 mil tyre. Day done. It's pretty simple. What tyres are the racers using? Your bike needs to handle that. If it can't, it's not the end of the world, but it's just harder to justify because someone buys it and then they go into a gravel race and they do a course recon and they go, it'd be nice to have the 50 on the front, and it can't fit.
But here's the pushback. Gravel tyres, which everyone's getting off because they all want to be on mountain bike tyres, are still at a first generation level. They haven't moved forward. So what you will find is that 40, 45 mil gravel tyre in the next 2, 3, 4 years will become better and will become more optimized for what they are designed to do. You are trying to, at the moment, mimic basically everyone's jumping to these mountain bike tires because they're performing better in these circumstances. Who's to say that gravel tire technology isn't going to improve, and therefore that will make the 45 the actual optimum?
It's a lot of ifs, a lot of maybes. This bike was just released and everyone's running more than 45.
But this is the whole problem with this space, and it's why it's catnip on YouTube. It's all ifs. The whole thing is ifs. No one actually has it. I mean, God love him, Dylan Johnson, but he's an if as well. It's none of it is actually. We don't have your down in Adelaide aero testing that scientifically disproves theories. When it comes to this stuff, it's purely anecdotal. Oh, that felt fast. Oh, no, I didn't like that. That's all we have. Or guys doing the guys at Cycle Station who are doing like this 6-minute loop. And that's the be all and end all of wherever a tire's fast now. So I don't know. I'm not trying to defend it.
Sounds like you are.
Yeah, well, I am just for the interest of it. Why not? Otherwise, the two of us would just be sitting here. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. My kind of thing is watch the tire space.
Can I just
and
ask,
you will definitely see people coming back to 45s.
What is 50 is that as wide as people generally?
No, people
mainstream?
go wider. I mean, they go to mountain bike.
What's the
tires.
widest you've used?
45.
You haven't gone wider than that?
No.
Okay. Obviously, there's like a technical barrier. I'm sure if it could fit 50s, they'd put 50s. But that would probably affect the design on the frame. It affects the
chain ring, so that's the other action of it. So this has been designed for a chain ring size, and once you start stuffing with chain ring lines, like that enormous rear tire affects that, especially when you're running one by. Yeah. So there's other factors around that.
What's the tire clearance of that?
45.
So it's the same.
But this is not their. So that the Aspero is their gravel bike, gravel adventure bike. The Aspero-5 has always been the race variant of that.
But people weren't complaining about the tire width on that, were they? Was that sort of a complaint people had had?
No, not really.
So why is it a complaint now? It's the same.
Because that's the thing. Because this is sort of my pushback. Now you're kind of aligning with me. It's only 12 months after that thing's launch, and no one was complaining about the tire width on that. And you're less than 12 months later, and people are now going, you can't launch a bike with 45mm tires. This is pathetic. But also, I'm just not in the lifetime Grand Prix space. Like I'm just not in the bubble. I'm sorry. It's not a bubble I ever want to be a part of.
Okay, what about this thing of running 650B wheels so you can get wider? Isn't that a thing? So you can run if you really wanted, or is that just not as quick? Sorry, I'm not even going to go there.
Don't even go there. That's just not, let's not start talking about things that are beyond. But you got to remember this stuff, this gravel stuff. Like trends change, like almost not. I'm going to say like year to year. It's not even year to year. It's like race to race trends change with this gravel stuff. We could be sitting here next year and guys are back on 37s, going, that this is the fastest setup because Schwabel have released this incredible 37mm tire. So, but you think about when this bike was designed. Let's say 18 months ago, that's probably the timescape on this. Yep. You think back 18 months ago in people in gravel, what's everyone in gravel talking about? What's the king of gravel? What's his YouTube channel probably talking about 18 months ago when he's talking about gravel racing?
Oh, this is like cycling YouTube trivia.
Aero. Gravel was all about aero 18 months ago. That was the hot topic.
Oh, it was do you use extensions or not?
Extensions. It was aero. We were talking about how you put hydration packs on to make it more aero, how you run. I think that was almost when we had him on the show. It was like, you killed the spirit of gravel because now everyone's wearing aero socks in gravel racing, right? Well, this bike, was probably being designed then, wasn't it? So they're like, well, okay, what's the hot trend in gravel right now? Aero. Let's make a fucking aero gravel bike.
It gets released. What's the hot thing?
Tire
50 mil
clearance.
tires.
Exactly. That's how this shit works. I guarantee you 18 months' time it will be something else bizarre because this whole sport is still in complete flux. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Who gets it right? I don't know. And having done these gravel races and stuff, it's crazy. The first time you get ridden off the wheel, you get dropped, you lose the wheel in the corner, the first thing you think is not, oh, it's my skills. It's like, fuck, he must have a better tire pressure. You're straight there. It's the shittest part. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Moving on. We have 4 bikes to talk about, Jesse Coyle.
Dog or fast
Ladies
bike.
and gentlemen,
I've been waiting.
Can I tell you, I think we have 4 of this. This is primo.
Oh, the finest
This
picks.
may be some of the best selections
Right.
so far.
Give
We
it to
started
me.
off with a Cannondale Super 6, System 6, sorry.
Ooh.
SRAM rival shifters and derailleur, red, won by 50 tooth, chainring, 170 cranks, 36 centimetre Lombardia tuning aero bar, 42 at the drops.
Lombardia.
What did I say? Oh,
It's Lambda.
Trek aero cages, there you go. Another man's gone out and bought them.
Yeah.
Newman Venoa Sprint 6066s. So that's just illegal. Yeah. 30 mil Corsa Pros. Set of Galfa rotors. 6.5 kilos. Jesse Coyle. I give you. Oh, and is that a centric cycling mount? No, it's not. No, he's got a dog of a mount on there.
Fast wheels. I can spot it now. Hidden valve. Says 0.3 of a watt. It's the System 6. It's just on you go, sir. Don't need to check your bag. Look at this.
Stamped.
Easy.
Approved.
That's about as easy as you're going to get across the mark. What's slow on that?
I love this bike.
Yeah.
I really love this bike. I haven't paid much attention to the geometry of a System 6. I mean, he looks like he's got about 80 mils of spaces under there.
Looks a bit small. There's a lot of seat posts going on here.
There's a lot of seat posts. I suggest he's running a size too small for him, so potentially a second-hand purchase.
Been there.
No issues with that. It's probably got this quite cheap. I've always liked that colorway, that split that Cannondale do. I would ride this bike. In fact, the person who sent this in basically said that. Said, I think I've got Chris Miller's bike. Yes, you do.
Wheels are illegal, though. 66 rear. Straight to
Handlebars are
trail.
illegal. Chainring's illegal.
What's the rollout?
That's the rollout.
That's the new thing we need, right? What's your rollout?
I'm surprised it's only 7.5 kilos, but I imagine those wheels are quite light then, are they?
Yeah, carbon spokes. Not many of them.
Certified fast bike?
Certified.
Certified fast bike. Bike 2 is a Specialized S-Works Venge 2020 disc. 12-speed Dura Ace group set, 160 mil Dura Ace cranks. Fast Sports integrated bars. He's got the FX1s, 38 millimeters. Rear wheel is an SES NVAR 4.5. Front wheel is an SES NV 4.5 from 2024. Okay, interesting. Saddle is an S-Works Roman. Silka saddlebag. Look at saddlebag updates. And the Wahoo Powerlink pedals. Oh dear, this could be a talking point. All right, there it is.
I'm looking for something because there's an S-Works and Envies. I'd love to pick it apart.
Here's the thing. I know you want to somehow drag this down, but you've got to remember this is the Venge. And I think the Venge has moved into a special place. It's moved into a kind of, I don't want to say retro cool, but it's certainly got an additional bit of vibe about it now that takes it beyond just just another fucking S-Works. Definitely. And the fact that it's still pimped out, it's still going to be as fast as anything else out there. And it boils down to the question for me, is it going to be a fast bike the answer is definitely yes.
Yep.
I just really rate this.
Yep.
I would love to think that this owner has hung on to this bike this whole time.
Yeah, is it purposeful? There's a certain steeze about, no, I'm not getting sucked into your bullshit. I'm not getting the SL7 and the SL8 that was just faster because it had integrated bars. I'm sticking with my venge. And so, yeah, I agree. There's just there's a real honor about this.
2 from 2. Oh, though, can we pick those wheels apart? No, not really. I think I have to accept them. Yeah, all right. Bike 3. Cervelo. Size 54. 130 mil, 36 bar stem. S-Works Roman Evo mirror saddle. Dura-Ace 12 speed with sprint shifters. Cyber 165 cranks with XKD power meter. And infinite ceramic bottom bracket. 5640 carbon tie chain rings. 1134 Dura-Ace cassette. Bontrager aero bottle cages. Scope Artex 6 wheels with Conti Aero 29. Front 30 mil GP 5000 rear, 140 mil Dura-Ace front and rear. Couldn't fit Galfa rotors as it was an incorrect size rotor.
Oh.
Wanted to get the Galfas on there, as everyone does. Bike is 6.97 with pedals, cages, and Garmin mount. I also have an FTP for you, which I kept out of the notes, which you'll be guessing at the end of this.
Did we mention? Oh yeah, the Bontrager Trek Aero bottles.
Yes.
Yep. Ah.
So this is great.
Well, I got stuff on this,
yeah,
but maybe you go first because I want to see where your head's at on it.
There's always something that I find very difficult to rationalize: the split between the value conscious frame and the outrageously boutique wheels being placed together. It's an imbalance that I struggle with, but I'm going to need to hear your thoughts before I make a decision.
So I'm not even struggling necessarily with the value proposition, even though they are competing. It's what are we trying to do here? So you've gone for a do-it-all frame, but you've then gone the narrower scope wheels with the narrower tires and the aero bottles. So I'm kind of, if I just looked at those wheels, the tire setup and the bottles, I'm going, if this was on a Quick Pro, that new aero frame, I'd get there. But I'm going, this kind of frame in this size looks like a climbing frame. But then you've got these deep wheels with the narrow tires, so you're not even really getting the sort of the comfort sort of road racing thing if you had the 6As with some 30 or 32s. And for me, that's why I'm thinking it's not fast, because this isn't going to be as fast as these components on a Cube Lightning Aero C86 or whatever it's called. It's on a do-it-all frame. I'd be more likely to give this a fast bike if it had some 50 mil Magene wheels with a 32 mil front and rear GP 5000. Then I'd go, yeah, I can see where that's performing. I think you've made the Cervelo a dog.
Ooh.
With this spec.
Haters gonna hate. Jeez.
Are you with me? Or?
I don't know.
No?
I feel like this bike knows what it wants to be.
I'll get you there. Walk over to this bike and look down at the front wheel.
Oh, yeah. No,
with that 29 mil, that measuring. Yeah,
I didn't realize these were the narrow ones.
Yeah. Yep. And you're going, oh, it's a bit rough. And
very aero-conscious individual, though.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the bar stem configuration.
But for a really aero-conscious individual, I think it's the wrong frame. The build weight's great. He's saying 6.97 with pedals. But you're not a weight weenie. You're an aero dog. You've put the aero bottles on. I think it's the wrong frame. It's either the wrong frame or it's the wrong build. I'll be honest, I'm leaning towards dog.
Okay.
I think we got to make this got to be hard.
Okay. You can't just turn up. You can't just slap
No.
a set of scopes on and inspect the fast bike.
Yeah, and Chris is calling it a Cervelo fast because it's got scopes on it.
Yeah, fair point. Now, have you got an FTP for me?
It's not Mark Tucker's bike, is it?
It is.
Is it his?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, well, that's unfair.
How did you know that?
Well, I know. Well, who the hell rides the SRAM Cervelo in black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is.
I didn't know he put scopes on it.
Maybe he just did it to troll you for the photo.
Oh, right.
Potentially.
Oh, maybe he screwed himself up if he put his actual wheels on it.
Yeah.
Well, what's his 380? What are we working with?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
He's 50, by the way.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you cool? Is it dog? Because you can overrule. Actually, no. If I call it dog, I can't win.
Done.
No, it's done.
Yeah. No, I mean, your rationalization there. I think it's just.
Mm-hmm.
It's just. Bike 4. Noah Fast 3.0 integrated cockpit, 115 mil stem, 36 centimeter.
The new one.
The top 40
I've never seen
jobs.
one of these. Yeah, okay.
Syncross Capital SL 60 mil wheels, GP 5000 ST30 tyres, tubeless SRAM Red E1 1033 cassette and a 52 tooth in the front, Stellar Italia Boost 3D saddle, Speedplay Aero pedals, muck off tubeless sealant. Ooh, mark down for the muck off. 50 mils, good. Good to see your amount of tubeless sealant in there. Weight ready to go without Garmin 7.1 kilos, and I also will have an FTP for you at the end.
Wow, what a build!
Jesse Coyle, we have it.
The Syncross Capital SLs. Now, for those that don't remember, this is the ones that have the fully bonded in carbon spokes from the hub into the rim. They're like $1 bazillion. Test fast, hookless though. On the new Ridley with its own integrated bars.
You just lean it up against a stone. That's what you do. You just lean it up against a stone. Don't you worry about that. You just get a nice little scratch on there. Fair play. Looks
one
like
by.
Road 1 by setup. 3D printed saddle.
To me, this is easy. This is an easy one. I mean, unless you got something to complain about. He's cooking something up.
I once rode a bike.
Okay.
It was potentially a prototype, but it was called the Devel A02. And my God, it looked a lot like this.
Well, just because it was also purple.
Yes. Maybe I'm being thrown off by that. Look, loving the depth of the head tube. The issue with this bike is still this bar stem thing that's going on. I don't think they've got that sorted.
You know what, Chris? This just kills your S5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This absolutely destroys your S5.
Okay.
This is 7.1.
Yeah.
With 60 mil wheels. You're pushing. Actually, you're probably not that much heavier, really.
No.
Because it's 1 by.
1 by.
You're
with
pushing
those wheels.
7. But this is with pedals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
you're 7.3 no pedals.
But they're speed play. There's the weights in the shoe. The weight's in the shoe.
Oh, he carries the weight in the shoe. The cleat's in the shoe.
He hasn't even got a bloody concentric cycling radar mount. He's got some slop one on there. So this is Abrahamson's bike, right?
If they didn't have to run DT Swiss wheels.
Yeah.
This is Abrahamson if he was a privateer.
Yeah, fast bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fast bike. Yeah, it is a fast bike, I got to say.
I mean, there's some dosh dropped here, though. Like,
yeah.
I'm
surprised how light he got it.
Yeah, that's...
So are those wheels super light, are they? 7.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because there's no way Uno X are getting it that light. No way in hell. Interesting.
Let me check the weight. 1290 grams for a pair of 60s.
Can you do an FTP for me? Or just a full picture of the person?
Okay.
You can take a moment.
But they've been in the sport. No one just goes and I'm going to go buy Syncross Capital SL60s. So they're young, but they've been around the sport a while. They're probably 34. because they've been working long enough that they've the disposable income that they're just ready to spend. I think it's probably maybe one size smaller? It's probably a 52. I think they've gone one by as a weight weenie, and it's a weight weenie saddle, and they've put the weight on, and they've measured their sealant. It's a weight weenie, so it's a weight weenie with an. So it's going to no someone. It's someone that's strong because a weight weenie with an aero frame. They know they're strong, but they still want to climb. I think it's a 34-year-old. What would like? It's probably around probably a 3, bit smaller than you. They're not going to be 350. That'd be like, no, that's too strong. I'm going to go 34-year-old that's been riding for at least a decade, and their FTP is 335.
He's lost his touch.
No.
Maybe the picture is misleading. He's 180 centimeters, 80 kilos.
What?
And his FTP is 275.
180 centimeters.
Yes.
Oh, this frame's your size.
I'm 175. So
bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm miles off. It looks like a very small frame.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You've got the demographic pretty close.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at pictures of him, I didn't ask for age and current sort of life status. But maybe future, if you want to send in your current life status, let us know.
It's
maybe a little bio,
it's a
potentially.
fast bike. Let's do some more riding. Let's get the fitness up to match the spec.
310. Let's get it up to 310.
Yeah, and then you're good.
Yep.
Yeah. I think 275 on this rig. Let's put some hours in the saddle.
Okay.
I'd like to see.
Yep.
But yeah, well built.
Yep. What cycling things do you hate paying for? That just grind your gears. Just the thought of having to spend your real money on these items, it just sickens you every time.
Why don't you go first, Chris?
Water bottles. For me, it's water bottles. It's why, number one, I hang on to them way too long. They're probably carrying all forms of disease by the time they eventually get chucked out. And they're also, so it's just something about going online and spending, because they're always way too expensive for what they really are. And so I am that guy who will go to a press event, some sort of bike expo, and I am sniffing around for bottles because I don't care what it is. I don't care what brand it is. Give me Trek bottles. Give me special. I don't give a shit. I want free bottles because just the thought of actually having to spend money on these things it just makes me so angry. So that's the main one for me.
For me, it's a clear winner is Tyres. You're shopping around and then you think, I need a couple new tires. I'll get a 30 and a 32, and you put them in, and suddenly your cart's $400. And you're like, I haven't even bought anything. I'm only getting tires. I need them. And there's no joy in it because I'm not experimenting with different brands anymore. It's a GP 5000 and it's probably a 30 or a 32, and then it just blows out the cart.
But at least I feel with tires, you are buying performance. You're making a decision, an educated decision that, yes, okay, is routine now for you, but I still feel like there's that. But with a water bottle, it's just a fucking water bottle. I'm just taking water out of it. Like, why am I paying money for this?
I mean,
you can buy a water bottle for like $35.
I'm not saying it's on par with the water bottle. The water bottle is clearly the more annoying purchase, but I'm putting the tires and just
another one
irritating.
Another one for me, base layers. So I don't know what it is. I am still running base layers from the team. Maybe it's because we used to get free ones that I am now. So someone commented under one of the videos. I think it was the Amy's one we did. And I was putting my base layer on. It's got like a hole in it. Oh, yeah. And the comment was like, please let that base layer die, Chris. Just let you know, it's still in operation. There is something about the base layer. It should just continue to live well beyond its years. So the idea, and again, it's another one of those things where you go in and if you put a few in your cart, you're like, $220 for 2 base layers.
And you haven't even actually got kit. You just got this invisible thing
that's underneath me. Yeah. So there's that. What else? I mean, there's the other ones like socks and stuff, but I mean, it probably doesn't really count because.
Oh, I like socks.
I mean, but I find
them quite exciting.
Yeah. Okay.
To me, that's When you get a good pair, I think that's a nice.
Yeah. Handlebar tape was the only other one I could think of. It's just like, I don't feel like there's really want to get that one sort of thing. It's like, I suppose I should change it type scenario. But anyway, they're the ones I could think of. All right, let us know down below if you've got any bits and pieces you just hate paying for. But as far as today's show, I think that might do us.
All done.
All done. We will see everybody next week.
See you then.